The courage to admit one's mistakes is one of the most powerful yet underrated virtues the Buddha emphasized throughout his teachings, for he reminded us that acknowledging our faults is not a sign of weakness, but the first true step toward inner transformation and self-evolution. In a world where ego constantly whispers that we must appear perfect, the Buddha taught that real strength lies in honesty with oneself. When we accept our mistakes with humility, we break the chains of denial that keep us trapped in suffering. This act of acceptance opens the door to clarity, allowing the mind to see reality without distortion. Buddha often said that a person who bravely admits his faults becomes like a clean mirror, capable of reflecting truth, wisdom, and compassion. Such courage builds character, inviting growth where stubborn pride once lived. Instead of wasting energy defending our flaws, we begin investing energy into correcting them. Every mistake becomes a teacher, every failure a step forward, and every realization a milestone in awakening. The Buddha's teachings remind us that the greatest transformation begins the moment we whisper to ourselves, "Yes, I was wrong, and I am willing to change." This willingness purifies the mind from guilt, fear, and shame, replacing them with calm determination and self-understanding. Admitting a mistake is not about diminishing oneself. It is about rising above the ego and embracing the path of truth. Those who accept their faults with sincerity develop deeper compassion, not only for themselves but for others who struggle. They learn patience, kindness, and the wisdom to avoid repeating the same errors. In this way, confession becomes liberation, and humility becomes power. Buddha's message is clear. A person who has the courage to look inward and correct their own weaknesses is far stronger than one who hides behind excuses. The journey of self-improvement does not start with perfection. It starts with awareness. And awareness blooms only when we are honest with ourselves. So, the next time you fear admitting a mistake, remember that it is not a fall. It is a rise, a spiritual elevation, a moment where your inner light grows brighter. The one who corrects his mistakes walks the noble path of progress, peace, and enlightenment. As we walk further along this path of inner honesty and mindful reflection, the Buddha's wisdom teaches us that the courage to admit our mistakes gradually transforms our entire way of living, shaping not only our character, but also the world we create around us. When a person accepts responsibility for their actions, they begin to cultivate a rare purity of heart, because sincerity has the power to dissolve the heavy burden of denial, pride, and hidden guilt. Instead of living behind a mask, we begin to live with openness and clarity. Instead of running away from our shortcomings, we stand face to face with them. This fearless confrontation is what strengthens the mind, just as fire strengthens gold. Through this courage, our inner world becomes more peaceful, for the mind no longer wastes energy defending lies or hiding imperfections. The Buddha often taught that the mind becomes truly light only when it stops carrying the weight of falsehood. When we accept our mistakes, we embrace learning, and through learning, we grow. It is in this growth that one discovers a deeper sense of stability, an unshakable confidence born from authenticity rather than ego. This transformation also affects our relationships. People begin to trust us more, not because we are flawless, but because we are real. Admitting mistakes builds bridges where ego builds walls. It invites forgiveness where stubbornness invites conflict. And in every such act of honesty, compassion grows inside us like a quiet lotus blooming in clear water. The Buddha's teachings remind us that just as a lotus rises unstained from the mud, we too can rise above our shortcomings if we approach them with truthfulness instead of shame. Moreover, the courage to admit wrongdoing fosters wisdom because each mistake becomes a mirror, showing us where the next step of growth lies. Without acknowledging our faults, we walk blindly. With acknowledgement, each step becomes deliberate and mindful. This journey makes our hearts gentler, for when we understand our own imperfections, we judge others less. We learn to forgive more easily, to love more deeply, and to connect more sincerely. And slowly, through this honest examination, the mind begins to release old patterns, harmful habits, and hidden fears. We begin to see that mistakes are not obstacles but stepping stones, each one an opportunity to become wiser, kinder, and more awakened. The Buddha's message echoes clearly: greatness is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall, with humility and awareness. So, let every mistake be a guiding light, every flaw a doorway to improvement, and every moment of acceptance a step toward inner liberation. In embracing our imperfections, we awaken the highest version of ourselves, walking the noble path with sincerity, courage, and unwavering clarity. As this journey of honest self-reflection deepens, the Buddha's teachings reveal an even greater truth: that admitting our mistakes not only transforms our inner world, but also reshapes the destiny of our life, because every moment of humility plants the seed of awakening. When we dare to look inward without fear, we realize that our mistakes are not stains on our character, but signposts showing where our next lesson lies. Instead of feeling defeated by them, we begin to see them as precious opportunities for refinement. The Buddha taught that just as a sculptor chips away stone to reveal the hidden statue, we too must chip away our ego, our stubbornness, and our illusions to uncover the purity within. Each time we accept responsibility, we remove another layer covering our true self. This process is slow, sometimes uncomfortable, yet always transformative. It teaches patience with ourselves and with the world. It teaches resilience, because acknowledging a mistake without breaking down is a strength that builds unshakable confidence. And it teaches discipline, drawing us toward mindful actions and thoughtful decisions. As this clarity grows, our mind becomes less reactive and more observant. We begin to catch our mistakes earlier, speak with more kindness, act with more awareness, and respond to challenges with more maturity. This shift is not dramatic in a single day, but gradual, like dawn spreading its light across a dark horizon. Others around us begin to notice this change too. They see a calmer presence, a more grounded personality, a person they can trust. And trust, once earned through humility, becomes a powerful force that strengthens relationships, heals old wounds, and creates harmony where conflict once existed. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that a person who admits wrongdoings becomes like clear water, refreshing, transparent, and free from the impurities of arrogance. In such clarity, emotional burdens dissolve. Guilt turns into learning, regret turns into resolve, and fear turns into inner strength. This transformation allows us to forgive ourselves for the past and to step into the future with courage. We stop dwelling on what went wrong and instead ask, what can I do better now? With this shift, every failure becomes a teacher and every setback becomes a moment of rebirth. Gradually, the heart becomes lighter, the mind sharper, and the soul calmer. We begin to understand that true growth does not come from pretending to be perfect, but from embracing our imperfections with honesty and grace. The Buddha's path is a reminder that self-evolution begins the moment we stop running from ourselves and start listening to our inner truth. So let every acknowledgement of a mistake be a triumph, every act of humility a victory, and every step toward self-correction a step toward enlightenment. In this courageous acceptance lies the power to rewrite our life, reshape our character, and awaken the deepest wisdom sleeping within us. As we continue to walk on this compassionate inner path, the Buddha's teachings gently remind us that the courage to admit our mistakes becomes the very foundation of spiritual maturity, for it opens the heart to truth and prepares the mind for profound transformation. When we acknowledge our faults sincerely, we create space within ourselves for new wisdom to grow. This inner space is sacred. It is free from defensiveness, ego, and the fear of judgment. In this openness, we begin to observe our actions with greater awareness, recognizing not only where we went wrong, but also how we can rise stronger. The Buddha taught that mistakes are like lanterns on the road of life. If we look at them carefully, they illuminate the very direction in which we must move forward. Through honest reflection, we learn to differentiate between impulses that mislead us and intentions that guide us toward goodness. Slowly, we become more mindful of our thoughts, words, and choices. Our mind becomes disciplined, and our heart becomes calm. This transformation does not make us flawless. Rather, it makes us authentic. Authenticity allows us to live without fear, because when we stop pretending to be perfect, we free ourselves from the pressures of comparison and competition. Instead, we begin to walk gently, humbly, and patiently with ourselves and with others. The Buddha often reminded his followers that a person who admits their mistakes becomes like soft clay, easily molded into something beautiful, wise, and compassionate. In this softness, strength is born. For true strength is not rigid, it is flexible. It does not resist change, it embraces it. And with each correction of our flaws, we inch closer to becoming the person we aspire to be. We also become more understanding toward others, because we realize that everyone stumbles in their own way, everyone struggles, everyone learns. This realization expands our compassion. It teaches us to listen better, support more gently, and love more deeply. Our relationships become more harmonious because honesty forms the core of trust, and trust forms the core of connection. The Buddha's wisdom makes us see that to admit a mistake is to choose peace over pride, truth over illusion, and growth over stagnation. It strengthens our inner character, making us resilient during hardships and humble during success. With each mistake we accept, we shed a layer of ignorance and step closer to enlightenment. The journey becomes lighter, our thoughts become clearer, and our actions become more purposeful. So let every mistake be met with courage, every reflection with sincerity, and every realization with gratitude. For in this continuous process of recognizing, accepting, and transforming our flaws, we discover the purest version of ourselves, the version the Buddha believed each person carries within, waiting to awaken through the light of honest self-awareness. As this journey of inner awakening deepens even further, the Buddha's teachings reveal that the courage to admit our mistakes is not merely an isolated act of humility, but a lifelong discipline that continually shapes our mind, purifies our heart, and aligns our actions with truth and compassion. Every time we acknowledge a fault, we loosen another knot of ignorance, gradually freeing ourselves from the patterns that once held us captive. This continuous self-awareness becomes a gentle guardian, reminding us to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, and to choose understanding over impulse. With each moment of honest reflection, our vision becomes clearer, helping us recognize the subtle motivations behind our behavior, whether they arise from fear, attachment, anger, or simple misunderstanding. Such clarity empowers us to break old habits and cultivate new ones rooted in mindfulness and kindness. The Buddha often said that the mind is like a garden. If we nourish it with honesty, peace, and discipline, it blossoms. If we feed it with denial and ego, it becomes overgrown with weeds of confusion. Through the courage of admitting mistakes, we begin to weed this garden one root at a time. This process may feel slow and sometimes painful because it asks us to confront parts of ourselves we once ignored. But it is in this confrontation that true healing begins. The more we practice accountability, the stronger our character becomes, turning vulnerability into wisdom and errors into enlightenment. This strength radiates outward, influencing not only our personal growth, but also our relationships. People feel safer around someone who can admit when they are wrong, because such honesty creates an atmosphere of mutual respect. Conflicts resolve faster, misunderstandings soften, and connections deepen. We learn to communicate with openness, apologize with sincerity, and forgive with ease. And through this, harmony naturally blossoms. At the same time, our confidence grows, not the fragile confidence built on pride, but a quiet, steady confidence built on truth. We no longer fear judgment because we no longer hide behind illusions. We no longer fear failure because we understand that every mistake carries a lesson. This mindset turns life into a continuous classroom where each experience, pleasant or painful, becomes a teacher guiding us toward higher wisdom. The Buddha's path encourages us to live like flowing water, gentle yet strong, calm yet powerful, always moving, always learning, always purifying itself. Through the courage to admit mistakes, we become adaptable, serene, and ever-evolving. We begin to radiate the kind of peace that comes from knowing ourselves deeply and honestly. So let this practice be your daily meditation, a commitment to truth, a promise to grow, and a step toward the light within. For in embracing our flaws with courage, we uncover the timeless beauty of our true nature, and we move closer to the enlightened self the Buddha knew we all have the potential to become. And so, as this journey of self-realization comes to a close, the Buddha's timeless wisdom echoes gently within our hearts, reminding us that true liberation begins the moment we dare to be honest with ourselves. The courage to admit our mistakes is not the end of our path, but the doorway to a brighter, wiser, and more compassionate life. When we embrace our imperfections with humility, we step into a world where growth is natural, forgiveness is easy, and peace flows freely from within. Every mistake becomes a lesson, every realization a new beginning, and every act of honesty a step toward enlightenment. Let this truth shine in your life like a steady flame, guiding your thoughts, grounding your actions, and illuminating your inner journey. For the one who walks with sincerity walks with strength, and the one who walks with truth walks with freedom. May your heart remain open, your mind remain aware, and your spirit remain fearless as you continue onward. This is the path of clarity, the path of transformation, the path of awakening, the path the Buddha lovingly revealed for all who seek the light within.